Good morning, everybody. Now here, today we will be discussing what a detailed discussion will be there of past exam questions for CMA intermediate examination, that is indirect tax paper. So basically our focus is what? How you can get good marks in these practical questions. So basically how the presentation must be made, that we'll be analyzing here. So we'll be doing each and every practical question, and how you have to present the same, how to write your working notes, so that you can easily get exemption marks in this indirect tax portion. So fundamentally, whether it's a CA exam or a CMA exam or a CS exam, presentation plays a very, very important role. So maybe the answers for both the candidates may be same, but one is writing proper working notes, the other one is not writing proper working notes. So he may be getting half the marks, the person who is not writing proper working notes in comparison to the person who is a student who is writing, say, proper working notes. So fundamentally, presentation plays a very, very important role. So lot of the students, they were raising these types of questions that please separately for the CMA intermediate students, please give us how we have to present our exam paper. For this purpose, we are writing about this. Okay, this is CMA intermediate past exam question discussion. So let us begin with the same. So this question was asked for what? 4 marks in December 2019 examination, because subsequently we are not having the the paper is not being given by the institute. So till that time, whenever the GST has been introduced, so from that period till the time we are having the available papers, we will be discussing each and every question, each and every practical question. So first question of 4 marks in December 2019, let us see what it's stating. Now here Raja Chola sales, air conditioner dealer is there. He is what? An air conditioner dealer. So you must understand what basic requirement is there. He is an air conditioner dealer in Tamil Nadu. He is what? Air conditioner dealer. He is the air conditioner dealer in Tamil Nadu. Needs 4 air conditioners. For his newly constructed house in Gangaikodai Cholapuram enclave. So he needs what? 4 air conditioners basically for his house. Now therefore, what he do is, he transfers 4 AC. Okay. Now he transfers what? 4 air conditioners on which ITC has been availed by it. So he has been what? Transferring 4 conditioners, ACs, on which he has already taken ITC from his stock for the said purpose. Now the question is, they are asking is, examine whether the said activity amounts to supply under section 7 of the CGST Act. Now they are asking whether the said activity, say it is regarded as supply or not. Then the next question. Further, Thanjavur resident Vikram Pandya approached Raja Chola sales. Thanjavur resident Vikram Pandya, he is approached. Now he sold an air conditioner to Raja Chola sales for rupees 5,000. Vikram Pandya has brought the said AC 6 months before for his residence. Now he has bought the AC 6 months before his residence. Does sale of air conditioner by Vikram Pandya to Raja Chola sales amounts to supply under section 7 of the CGST Act? So they are asking for two different parts are there. One is an air conditioner dealer. He has transferred 4 air conditioners. On which ITC has been already availed by it. Okay. So they are asking whether this the said activity amounts to supply under section 7 of the CGST Act or not. So first of all, let us see. Now here in first part, it is supply of air conditioners. It is supply of air conditioners without consideration. Without consideration. Now, as we have seen under section 7(1)(a), for a transaction to be covered under the ambit of supply in respect of goods or services, here the same must be for a consideration and it must be in course or furtherance of business. But what section 7(1)(c) provides is, that certain activities have been specified where in schedule 1. Certain activities have been specified in schedule 1, and in case if you are carrying out those activities or transactions and the same is without consideration, then also it will tantamount to supply. It is regarded as basically deemed supply. And here in schedule 1, we see those activities or transactions which are what regarded as supply, even if made when made without consideration. Now here para 1 of schedule 1 provides that permanent transfer or disposal of business asset permanent transfer or disposal of business asset where ITC has been availed, where ITC has been availed okay, amounts to supply even when made without consideration. Even when made without consideration. So fundamentally it is what? Permanent transfer or disposal of business asset where ITC has been availed amounts to supply even when made without consideration. Now in this case, since Raja Chola Sales has transferred air conditioners, 4 ACs, on which he has taken ITC, without consideration, he has transferred the same without consideration on which he has already taken ITC, okay, for his personal purpose. The said transaction will amount to supply. So fundamentally, this transaction will amount to supply, deemed supply as per para 1 of schedule 1. So you have to, first of all, you have to write basically here for a transaction to be covered under the ambit of supply, it must satisfy, the either under section 7(1)(a), what are the conditions are there, the same must be satisfied, or say if it is not there, then as per 7(1)(b) or 7(1)(c), if the said transaction falls in that ambit, then it tantamounts to supply. So here under section 7(1)(c), certain activities or transactions have been specified which will amount to supply even when made without consideration. Since here those activities have been specified where in the schedule 1, and this particular activity falls under the ambit of schedule 1, therefore it tantamounts to what? Supply. Now relating to the second part, so we have seen under section 7(1)(a), First is what? The supply. For being a transaction to qualify a supply, the supply must be of what? Goods or services. Goods or services or both. The same must be for a consideration. In short, I am writing same must be for a consideration. And the goods must be either sold or the same must be transferred. Okay. Here, the supply must be in course or furtherance of business, or say furtherance of business. Now in this particular circumstance, the same must be in course or furtherance of business. Now here, when we see what is happening here is that this particular Vikrama Pandya, now here Vikram Pandya has disposed of AC, which was purchased by him, for his personal use. So the same is not in course or furtherance of business. The same is not in course or furtherance of business. It is not in course or furtherance of business. The same is not in course or furtherance of business. Hence, it will not amount to supply. Though it is for a consideration, but since it is not in course or furtherance of business, it will not amount to what? Supply. So this was one question. So basically your presentation must be in such a manner that point-wise presentation must be there, that for a transaction to be regarded as supply, the supply must be of goods and services, the supply must be made for a consideration, the supply must be in course or furtherance of business, the supply must be made by a taxable person. So fundamentally these conditions are what satisfied, then only then the transaction is regarded as supply under 7(1)(a). And otherwise, if the transaction do not qualify as supply under 7(1)(a), then we can go for 7(1)(b) or 7(1)(c). And in that case, we can see whether that transaction amounts to supply or not as per the ingredients of those, clauses which have been provided under subsection 1. But in case, if they do not fall in that criteria, then this transaction will not amount to supply. So this question was asked for 4 marks. 2 marks must be for the upper part and 2 marks must be for the second part of this question. Now let us discuss the next question. So they are asking that from the following cases, you are required to suggest if the registered person can opt for composition scheme under section 10 of the CGST Act for the relevant financial year. You are required to narrate relevant provisions of the law with the applicable composition tax rate in each case if registered person can opt for the composition scheme. So number 1 is what? Mr. Rajesh Khanna Enterprises, Nagpur, Maharashtra. Now Rajesh Khanna Enterprises, Nagpur, Maharashtra, is engaged in the business of manufacture of tobacco. It is engaged in the business of manufacture of tobacco products. Has shown the aggregate turnover of 90 lakhs during the preceding, financial year. Now here, in this particular Rajesh Khanna is registered, basically is in Maharashtra. It is in Maharashtra. Now here, for eligibility of threshold limit for composition, eligibility threshold limit for composition scheme is what? The turnover in the preceding financial year, it must not exceed what? Rupees 150 lakhs. The same must not exceed rupees 150 lakhs, in that particular circumstance, it will be eligible to opt for what? The composition scheme. But we have seen that here, in case if a person is a manufacturer of tobacco and manufactured tobacco substitutes, then they will not be eligible to opt for composition scheme. So in this case, since measures Rajesh Khanna Enterprises is engaged in the manufacture of tobacco products. It is engaged in manufacture of tobacco products. Okay. Since measures Rajesh Khanna Enterprise engaged in manufacture of what? Tobacco products. Hence, it will not be eligible to opt for composition scheme, as you are aware of the fact that the manufacturers of the tobacco and say tobacco manufactured substitutes, they are not eligible to opt for composition scheme. This is number one. Then number two, measures Pramod and Company Imphal Manipur. Measures Pramod and Company Imphal Manipur is engaged in manufacture of textile carpets and has shown the aggregate turnover of rupees 85 lakhs in the preceding financial year. So here, for number two, those manufacturers who are there, who are doing the business in say Manipur, the threshold limit of composition scheme is what? Rupees 75 lakhs. So here, since the aggregate turnover of measures Pramod and Company Manipur, exceed the threshold limit of rupees 75 lakhs in preceding FY. The threshold limit is rupees 75 lakhs in preceding financial year. Hence, it will not be eligible to opt for composition scheme. Hence, it will not be eligible to opt for composition scheme. Okay. So here, it will not be eligible to opt for composition scheme, as the aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is exceeding the threshold limit of rupees 75 lakhs for the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura and Uttarakhand. For these states, the threshold limit is what? Rupees 75 lakhs. For the state of Assam, for the state of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir, the threshold limit is what? 1.5 crores. So both for the northeastern states except say Assam, the threshold limit is rupees 75 lakhs. In case your aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year exceeds the threshold limit of rupees 75 lakhs, you won't be eligible to opt for the composition scheme. Next देखिए, you see Mr. Measures Quality Ice Cream Parlor, Bangalore, Karnataka, is engaged in the business of trading of ice cream, has shown the aggregate turnover of rupees 60 lakhs in the preceding financial year. So here measures quality ice cream. They are engaged in the business of what? Trading of ice cream. They are not engaged in the business of manufacturing of ice cream, because the manufacturers of ice cream and other edible ice, they are not eligible to opt for composition scheme. So here, since quality ice cream parlor is engaged in a business of trading of ice creams, then in that particular circumstance, it is eligible to opt for composition scheme. It is eligible to opt for composition scheme as the aggregate turnover in preceding financial year does not exceed rupees 1.5 crores. The aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year, it does not exceed rupees 1.5 crore. Therefore, it is eligible to opt for, this composition scheme. Now, basically, if what is the rate of GST? Here, if they are engaged in sale of these ice creams, purchase sale of these ice creams, so for traders, the rate of GST will be what? 0.5% of the taxable supplies will be the CGST element, and 0.5% of the taxable supply will be the SGST element. But in case if they are restaurant service suppliers, then in that particular circumstance, the rate of GST will be what? 2.5% of the turnover in the state or union territory will be the CGST element, and 2.5% of the turnover in the state or union territory will be the SGST element. So fundamentally, you have to write both the things. So here, basically, we presume that they are engaged in trading of ice cream. The persons can come and they can take the ice cream from the outlets. Then it is trading of ice creams, and the rate of CGST and SGST composition tax rate is 0.5% of the taxable supply. 0.5% of the taxable supply is the CGST element, and 0.5% of the taxable supply is the SGST element. Now the fourth one. Measures British bakeries. Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu is engaged in the business of supply of bakery products. Both in takeaway packs and served in ready-to-eat containers, in order to cater the needs of the customers who consume the products on spot, and they have aggregate turnover about 1.26 crore during the preceding financial year. Now here, whether they are eligible or not, definitely they will be eligible to opt for the composition scheme. So in this case, since British bakeries is engaged in business of supply of bakery products. Business of what? Business of supply of bakery products. In the state of Tamil Nadu. And the aggregate turnover in preceding financial year is rupees how much? 1.26 crores. Hence, it is eligible to opt for composition scheme. Since it does not exceed the threshold limit of rupees 1.5 crores. It does not exceed the threshold limit of rupees 1.5 crores. Therefore, it will be what? Eligible to opt for the composition scheme. Therefore, it will be what? Eligible to opt for the composition scheme. Now, here basically what you have to see is, now since it is engaged in what? It is engaged in restaurant services. It is engaged in restaurant services. It is engaged in restaurant services. Hence, the rate of GST will be, rate of composition tax will be 2.5% CGST and 2.5% SGST. This will be the rate of composition tax of the turnover in the state or union territory. Of the turnover in the state oblique union territory. So this is one question which we have discussed here. That is what they were asking for the, in this particular case, they were asking for whether the company is eligible or not. This is about the eligibility of the composition scheme. So this four parts were there. In first two cases they were not eligible, in next two cases they were eligible. They were also asking for the rate of tax. So we have also discussed about the rate of tax here. So you have to understand, see, they say that also you are to narrate relevant provisions of the law with the applicable composition tax rate. What is the tax rate applicable if the registered person can opt for what? Composition scheme. So this has been asked for 8 marks in December 2019 exam. Now this question is related to exemptions. Let us start it. Measures Ijaz is a performing artist, provides the following information relating to October. So here he is a performing artist and he has given us the information that is performing classical dance. Now here the consideration is rupees 1,49,000. Then performing in TV serials, the consideration is rupees 2,80,000. Services as a brand ambassador, 12 lakh rupees. Then coaching in recreational activities relating to art, activity of sculpture making, and performing Western dance. So the information has been provided here relating to the, the activities which he is doing. Then they are saying that determine the value of taxable supply and GST payable for IGAS for October. GST at rate of 18% has been charged separately wherever applicable. GST at rate of 18% has been charged separately wherever the same is applicable. So here we are required to determine the value of the taxable supply. Now, first is performing classical dance. So here we have seen an exemption in entry 78 of notification number 12/2017 that services by an artist services by an artist by way of performance in folk or classical art forms of say music, dance and theatre. The same will be exempt from tax if the consideration charged for such performance is not more than rupees 1,50,000. So here, as per entry 78, services by a performing artist okay, by way of performance in a classical or say folk art form of say music, dance and theatre are exempt from tax. They are exempt from tax if the consideration charged for such performance is not more than rupees 1,50,000. If the consideration charged for such performance is not more than rupees 1,50,000. However, if services are provided in capacity of a brand ambassador, if services are provided in capacity of brand ambassador, if the services are provided in capacity of brand ambassador, same will be taxable. This is exempt, but this will be what? Taxable. Same will be taxable. Now let us discuss computation of the value of taxable supply and the GST liability. So here, computation of value of taxable supply, computation of value of taxable supply and GST liability. Okay. The first one is here, performing classical dance. Performing classical dance. Same is exempt from tax. The same is exempt from tax. Number 2 is performing in TV serial. Performing, it is exempt since the consideration does not exceed basically 1,50,000. Since you can write here, since consideration does not exceed rupees 1,50,000. Number 2 is about performing in TV serials. Performing in TV serials, that is 2,80,000 rupees, same is liable to tax. It's liable to tax because TV serials, they do not fall under the ambit of classical and art forms, so it will be taxable. 280, same is taxable. Here, next is about services as a brand ambassador. Services as a brand ambassador. It will also be taxable, that is 12 lakh rupees. Because exemption will not be available for services in capacity of a brand ambassador. Next is coaching in recreational activities relating to art. Coaching in recreational activities relating to art. So here, if any training or coaching is there in recreational activity relating to art, culture and sport, so here same is exempt. Same is exempt. It is exempt. Okay, coaching in recreational activities relating to art, culture or sport, they are exempt from GST. Next is about activities in sculpture making. Activities in sculpture making. Activities in sculpture making, same is taxable. Same is taxable as it is still art. Still art. So sculpture making basically is a still art, therefore exemption will not be available in respect of the same. It's an activity, still art form, same will be taxable. 310. Then we are having performance in Western dance. Performance in Western dance, 90,000. Performance in Western dance, that is 90,000. It will also be taxable because this is not classical art form. So this is value of taxable supply. Value of taxable supply. What is the value of taxable supply here? Let us calculate it. So 2,80,000 plus 12 plus 4. That is 1880. 1880 is the value of taxable supply. CGST, SGST at rate of 18%. That is 338, 400 will be the GST. CGST at rate of 9% and SGST at rate of 9% or GST payable at rate of 18%. So it is 338, 400. Okay. So this was one question which we have discussed here. The same was asked for 5 marks in June 2018 examination. Basically, this was exemption entries which have been discussed with entry 78. The same has been discussed. We have services by way of, say, by an artist, by way of performance in classical art or art forms of dance, music and theatre. The same is exempt, where the consideration charge does not exceed rupees 1,50,000. However, will not be entitled to take the exemption in case if the services are provided in capacity of a brand ambassador. So this question is discussed by us. This is 5 marks for each and every part. They will be allocating the marks here. Now let us discuss one more question. Here, Alicia Hotels Limited is a hotel provider of rooms. It is what? A hotel provider of rooms. And the rent charge per day per room is as follows. Here 1,550 rupees is the room rent. Furniture charges are 400 rupees. Air conditioner rent is 150. Refrigerator rent is 50. Discount is 250. And net amount charged is 1,900 rupees. Now here during the month of October, 20 rooms were let out throughout the month, and say it is 20 rooms were let out throughout the month, and balance 35 rooms were let out for 15 days. ITC availability have provided, that is 7,500 rupees. Now they say that the applicable GST rate is 12%, 18% and 28%. The question has been drafted. Prior to that, the rate of GST, it was depending upon the tariff, declared tariff. Now here, the rate is what? If the declared tariff, it does not exceed rupees 1,000, then as we already seen, it will be exempt. Then from, if the declared tariff, it exceeds 1,000 rupees, but does not exceed 7,500, the rate of GST will be 12%. And then if it exceeds 7,500 per unit of accommodation per day, rate of GST is 18%. So now fundamentally here, in this case, since in this case, the declared tariff exceeds rupees 1,000, but does not exceed rupees 7,500, hence applicable GST rate is 12%, and here full ITC will be admissible. Full ITC is admissible. Earlier we were not entitled to take the ITC, but now full ITC is admissible. So let us calculate the value of taxable supply and GST liability. So this is computation of value of taxable supply and GST liability. So it is 20 rooms are there. The same has been let out throughout the month. For 31 days it has been let out. And room rent charge per day is 1,900. So it will be 20 into 31 into 1,900. That is 11,78,000. Then here, beside this, 35 rooms have been let out for a period of 15 days, and amount charge is 1,900 rupees. So it is 9,97,500. It is 997,500. That is the total value of the taxable supply. So the total value of taxable supply is how much? 21,75,500. Now they say GST liability is how much? Here GST will be levied at rate of 12%. 6% is the CGST element and 6% is the SGST element. Into 12% is the GST, that is 261,060. Now here less input tax credit. Input tax credit will be admissible now, that is 7,500 rupees. ITC will be admissible. So here 2,53,560. This is what the GST to be deposited through e-cash ledger. This is the amount of GST which is required to be deposited through e-cash ledger, because they will be now entitled to take the input tax credit. So the GST liability net of ITC is what? 253,560. So this was one question, a simple question relating to hotel tariff. Now let us discuss the next question. It is dealing with exemption in respect of goods and services. Now here, Messrs. Pioneer Agro Limited has provided the following information and asking you to compute the value of exempt and taxable supply. They are asking you to compute the value of exempt supply and taxable supply in the month of March. They are asking you to compute the value of exempt supply and taxable supply in the month of March. So, first is sale of rice unbranded on own account. In case rice is sold which is unbranded, then in notification the same has been made exempt. Here it will be what? Exempt, since it is what? Unbranded. It is exempt because it is say unbranded. Then sale of branded rice on own account. If branded rice is sold, if you affix the brand name and then sell the same, it will be what? Chargeable to tax. So branded goods, it will be what? Taxable. Then commission received for dealing in unbranded rice. Commission which is received for dealing in unbranded rice, it is taxable. Commission which is received for dealing in unbranded rice, that is taxable. Because rice is not an agricultural produce. Rice is not an agricultural produce. So if you are getting commission as a commission agent of agricultural produce, the same is what? Exempt. But if you are getting commission for what? Rice. Rice is not coming under the ambit of agricultural produce, it will be taxable. Similarly, commission received for dealing in branded rice will also be taxable. This will also be taxable. Commission received for dealing in tobacco leaves. Now here, tobacco leaves are agricultural produce. Tobacco leaves are agricultural produce. Commission received for the same will be what? Exempt. Now sale of eggs have been made exempt. Sale of eggs have been made exempt in the notification. Sale of dried coconut has been made exempt. Sale of dried coconut has been made exempt. And next is sale of desiccated coconut. Now desiccated coconut, when we crush the coconut, dried coconut is subsequently crushed, and then this coconut powder is made, that is what? Desiccated coconut, it is taxable. The same is taxable. So fundamentally, now we are hereby required to compute the value of exempt supply and the value of taxable supply. So let us start with the same. Here, computation of value of exempt supply and taxable supply computation of value of exempt supply and taxable supply. They are saying here of Pioneer Agro Limited, this is say exempt supply, this is taxable supply, and this is particulars. Let us see. Number one is sale of rice unbranded. Sale of rice unbranded. Sale of rice unbranded. So if you are selling rice unbranded, it will be what? Coming under the ambit of exempt supply. So fundamentally it is rupees in lakhs. Here it is rupees in lakhs. Okay. It is 18 lakhs. It is coming under the ambit of exempt supply. Then number 2, sale of branded rice on own account. Sale of branded rice. This will be taxable. If you are selling the branded goods, the same will be what? Chargeable to tax. So here it is 5 lakhs. It will come under the ambit of taxable supply. Next is commission received for dealing in unbranded rice. Commission received for dealing in unbranded rice. Commission received for dealing in unbranded rice, that is 2.5. It will come under the ambit of taxable supplies because rice is not an agricultural produce. Since rice is not an agricultural produce, it is not an agricultural produce. So same is taxable. Then next is commission received for dealing in branded rice. Commission received for dealing in branded rice. If you receive any commission for dealing in branded rice, it will be taxable because rice is not coming under the ambit of agricultural produce. Then next is commission received for dealing in tobacco leaves. Commission received for dealing in tobacco leaves, that is 5. That is exempt supply because this tobacco leaves is an agri produce. Sale of egg, that will be exempt separately, it has been provided, coming under the ambit of exempt supply. And sale of dried coconut, sale of dried coconut, sale of dried coconut 5. The next is sale of desiccated coconut. Sale of desiccated coconut. It will be taxable. That is 3. So here the total value of supply that is taxable supply is, and 5 plus 2.5 plus 1 plus 3, 11.5, and it is 18 plus 5 plus 25 plus 5, that is 53. 53. Okay. So this way, this particular question was basically dealing with exemption in respect of goods and services. It was dealing with the exemption in respect of goods and services. So you can calculate 30, 35 and 8, 43, 53 and 5 plus 6 plus 9 and 11.50. So this way this question has been there. So you have to remember the goods which are also exempt from tax here. Now one more question we will be discussing here, that state with reasons whether the following transactions attract GST or not. So they are asking state with reasons whether the following transactions attract GST or not. Number one, now here services are provided by a private school, bus operator to a school in relation to transportation of students to and from the school. Now here we have seen an exemption in relation to educational services, that in case if any services are provided by way of transportation of students, faculty and staff to basically preschool coaching and coaching up to higher secondary school, the same will be what? Exempt from tax. So first is what? Exempt, since services provided to educational institution providing education up to higher secondary school by way of, so here services provided to educational institution by which educational institution which is providing education up to higher secondary school by way of what? Transportation of students, faculty and staff, the same is exempt from tax. The same is what? Exempt from tax. We have discussed the same in the entry relating to the educational services. That is, we have discussed the same here in the entry relating to educational services, that the said services are what? Exempt from tax. Entry 66 was dealing with it, that said services will be what? Exempt from tax. Next is number 2. Campus recruitment. Campus recruitment conducted by Messrs. Sona College of Engineering, Mumbai. Messrs. Sona College of Engineering, Mumbai, by collecting entry fees from corporate offices. By collecting what? Entry fees. So here the campus interview fees charged from corporate house is taxable. Is taxable. The same is what? Chargeable to tax. The same is what? Chargeable to tax. Next is number 3. Messrs. Geetanjali. Messrs. Geetanjali, a classical dancer, receives rupees 1 lakh from an event management company for performing in a stage program. Now here basically, here services provided by an performing artist in a classical art form of dance, music and theatre up to rupees what? 1,50,000 with a consideration charged where consideration charged is up to rupees 1,50,000. Same is exempt from tax. Same is what? Exempt from tax. So here the services which are provided by a performing artist in classical art form of dance, music and theatre is where 1 lakh rupees is charged only. So this is, since 1 lakh rupees is charged here, it will be exempt from tax. It will be what? Exempt from tax. Now fourth is Madras Music Academy charge 500 per ticket for a music concert of Srinivas, an Indian classical singer, but charge 1,000 per ticket for a music concert of another Indian classical singer of Measures K.J. Jesudas. Now here, if your admission to any event is there, admission to event, if entry fees is up to rupees 500 per person, same is per ticket, basically same is exempt from tax. Same is what? Exempt from tax. So in first case, I am writing here, services provided by Madras Music Academy, Madras Music Academy, where consideration charged is rupees 500 per person. Same shall be exempt. Same shall be what? Exempt from tax. And in the second case, in second event, since the consideration charged is rupees 1,000 per person, it will be taxable. It will be taxable. It will be what? Taxable. If the consideration so charge is 1,000 per person, it will be what? Taxable. So this is one question relating to exemption which has been asked for 8 marks in June 2018 examination, which we have discussed here. Now let us discuss one question here. The Sterling Group of Hotels introduces a holiday package for 5 days in Pondicherry and Mahabalipuram, Tamil Nadu. The stay includes both staying and complimentary breakfast. Stay as well as what? Complimentary breakfast. Whereas the stay in Pondicherry is for 3 nights and stay in Mahabalipuram is for 2 nights. Basically they are staying for 3 nights in Pondicherry and 2 nights for Mahabalipuram. For the above services, Sterling charges total of 15,000 rupees. Explain the place of supply in above scenario. Now here they are asking for 4 marks in 2019 examination. Now basically The place of supply of service of accommodation in a hotel is the place where the hotel is located. So in this case, the place of supply will be in a Pondicherry and Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now here, since consolidated amount is charged, for accommodation for both places, same will be the value, basically the value will be made proportionate on the basis of, here if there is a contract, then on the basis of the contract the value is made proportionate. But if in absence of contract, in accordance with the rules, the value is made proportionate. And here, as per rule, it has been provided that the value will be made proportionate on the basis of what? Number of nights which have been spent in each of such, say, hotel. So, basis of what? Number of nights stayed in such hotel. So here rupees 15,000 has been charged. Out of total 5 days, 5 nights, 3 nights have been spent in Pondicherry. So it will be rupees 9,000 will be the value of supply in, say, Pondicherry. And rupees 15,000 divided by 5 into 2, that is 6,000 in Tamil Nadu. So basically this is the value of supply. 9,000 will be in Pondicherry and rupees 6,000 will be in, say, Tamil Nadu. So fundamentally, this was question. Basically, we have to determine the value here as per the provisions of section 12.3, and the value, this a place of supply as per section 12.3 is a place where this immovable property basically is located. So services by way of lodging accommodation in a hotel, inn or guest house, homestay, club or campsite, here including a houseboat or any other vessel, the place of supply is the place where the, say, immovable property is located. And in this case, since the this services of hotel is they are providing, they are in Pondicherry as well as in, say, Tamil Nadu. So place of supply will be in Pondicherry and Tamil Nadu. And the consolidated amount is charged and the same is not charged separately. In that case, as per rule 4, the same will be apportioned on the basis of number of nights which have been spent in such property. So 3 nights have been spent in Pondicherry and 2 nights have been spent in Tamil Nadu. So basically on that basis you have to determine the value separately. So this will be the basic fundamentals you have to write, basically relating to place of supply first. Then since the consolidated amount is charged, it will be made proportionate on the basis of number of the nights stayed in such hotel. Now let us discuss one more question. Royce Group is an event organizer. Royce Group is an event organizer located in New Delhi. This event organizer is located in New Delhi. Here they are located where? In New Delhi. Organized Miss India beauty pageant. They have organized what? Miss India beauty pageant in the following cities for measures Ask Miss India, who is an unregistered person located in Mumbai. Now find the place of supply of service if contract specifically specifies the clear details, and find the place of supply of service if contract specifies lump sum amount of rupees 48 crores. Now first of all, relating to event organization, you know, the place of supply of organization of event is determined under section 12(7). If services are supplied to a registered person, then the place of supply is what? Place of supply is location of such person. Place of supply is location of such person. And if services are supplied to a person other than registered person, then what will be the place of supply? Here, if event is held in India, the place of supply is what? Place where event is held. And in case if event is held outside India, place of supply is, if event is held outside India, place of supply is the location of recipient. Now in this case, here in first case, they are saying that the event is held more than one place. In this case, since event is held at more than one place, if event is held at more than one place, the place of supply will be what? The place will be each state where the event is held. The place of supply will be the place where the event is so held. Now here in this case, since event is held in New Delhi, Chennai and Mumbai, place of supply will be in New Delhi, Chennai and Mumbai. So in case number 1, the place of supply will be in each state, and the value will be made proportionate in terms of agreement, in terms of contract or agreement, and in absence of such contract or agreement, in accordance with the rules. in accordance with the rules. Okay. So here, in first case, since in case number 1, contract clearly specifies the details. Place of supply will be, number 1 is what? New Delhi. And here, this is the place of supply. Value will be 12 crores. Location of supplier is where? Location of supplier is in New Delhi. Place of supply is New Delhi. What will happen? It will be intra-state supply. Nature of supply is intra-state supply, and same is subject to CGST and SGST. Same is subject to CGST and SGST. Number 2, Chennai. Place of supply is what? Chennai. Value of supply is equal to ₹18 crores. And the same will be an interstate supply. It will be interstate supply subject to IGST. Number 3, Mumbai. Place of supply is Mumbai, because location of supplier is where? In all the case, location of supplier is in New Delhi. It is in New Delhi. Now here, place of supply is in Mumbai. Value is ₹20 crores. Okay. It will also be subject to IGST. Then in second situation, if lump sum amount is charged, okay. Number 2, if lump sum amount of rupees 48 crores is charged, if lump sum amount of rupees 48 crore is charged, then what happens? Here, the value will be made proportionate. Here, the value will be made proportionate on basis of generally accepted accounting principles. Okay. So here, it will be made proportionate on the basis of number of days. So basically that will be accepted, same will be made proportionate on basis of number of days. The same will be made proportionate on the basis of number of days here. Now New Delhi, number of days, Then second is Chennai and the third is Mumbai. Chennai and it is Mumbai. Now number of days is 12, 18 and 20. 12, 18, 20. 48 crores is the total value. So it will be, this is what, 50. So it will be 12 days they have spent here into divided by 50 into 48. So in New Delhi, the value will be how much? 12 divided by 50 into 48, 11.52 crores. Then in Chennai, it will be 18 divided by 50 into 48, 18 divided by 50, that is 17.28. And then in Mumbai, it's 20 divided by 50 into 48, 20 divided by 50 into 48, that is 19.2. So this way you have to determine the value. Okay, place of supply in case of New Delhi, it will be New Delhi. In case of Chennai, it will be Chennai. In case of Mumbai, it will be what? Mumbai. So this was one question which we have discussed here, determining the place of supply. If services would have been provided to a registered person, the place of supply will be the location of such person. Now let us see the next question. Find out the place of supply. They are asking what? Find out the place of supply and the tax to be levied. Place of supply and tax to be levied, that may be IGST, CGST and SGST in the following cases. They are asking that find out the place of supply and tax to be levied, that is IGST, CGST and SGST in the following cases. Number 1. Measures Satya Narayan, an architect, he is architect, situated at Kochi, is engaged by Measures ABC Builders. He is architect situated at Kochi, is engaged by ABC Builders Kochi to draw a building plan for proposed building to be situated at Dubai, to be owned by the overseas client of Measures ABC Builders. Now here, Satya Narayan is an architect situated at Kochi. He is engaged by whom? ABC Builders Kochi to draw a building plan for proposed building to be situated at Dubai, to be owned by the overseas client of Measures ABC Builders. Now in this particular case, first one, we are required to determine the place of supply. Now here, services of architect are provided by Mr. Satya Narayan. By Mr. Satya Narayan. Satya Narayan. To Measures ABC Builders. Now here, as per the provisions of section 12.4, how the place of supply will be determined as per section 12.4. Here, the place of supply, 12.3 basically, 12.3, the place of supply of services directly in relation to immovable property Here the services basically directly in relation to immovable property. The place of supply of architects etc. are also covered. Here the place of supply will be what? The place where the immovable property is located or intended to be located. Now in this case, if the immovable property is located outside India, if the immovable property is what? Is located outside India. If the immovable property is located outside India, in that case, the place of supply will be the location of recipient. Place of supply is what? The location of the recipient. So here immovable property is to be located in Dubai. Therefore, the place of supply will be measures ABC builders. Measures ABC is engaged in ABC builders. ABC builders. That is Kochi. Now here the location of the supplier is in Kochi and place of supply is also in Kochi and place of supply is in Kochi. It is what? It is an intra-state supply. It is an intra-state supply. And same is subject to CGST plus SGST. Same is subject to CGST plus SGST. This is number one. Now let us discuss question number 2. Let us discuss question number 2. Number 2. Measures Aditya Spinners Limited. Measures Aditya Spinners Limited, having registered office at Bangalore, Karnataka, has engaged Measures Taxmac Private Limited, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, a company dealing in textile machineries to supply blow room machineries for farmers' spinning unit to be set up at Hosur, Tamil Nadu. Okay. Machineries are supplied in completely knocked down condition at Hosur unit and assembled by the technician of Measures Taxmac Private Limited. Now what is happening here is Aditya Spinners Limited, they are in Bangalore, Karnataka, and they have engaged whom? Taxmac Private Limited, Coimbatore, to supply blow room machinery for their textile unit. And this spinning plant is to be set up in Hosur, Tamil Nadu. And they say that the Hosur unit is not registered yet. So here basically what is they are asking is you have to determine the place of supply and the tax to be levied. Now in this case what is happening? We are writing here, as per section 10(1)(d), as per section 10(1)(d), where the supply involves assembly or installation of machines, the place of supply shall be the place of assembly or installation. The place of assembly or installation, basically that is a place of supply. Now here, in this case, since the assembly will take place in Hosur, in this case, the assembly of machine, assembly and installation of blow room machine takes place where? In Hosur unit, Tamil Nadu. Place of supply is in Tamil Nadu. Place of supply is in Tamil Nadu. Now, what is the nature of supply? Next is about the nature of supply. The location of supplier is in Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. And place of supply is in Hosur, Tamil Nadu. It is also in Tamil Nadu. It will be intrastate supply. It will be intrastate supply, and same shall be subject to CGST plus SGST. Next, third one is Measures Skillo India Limited Mumbai. Measures Skillo India Limited Mumbai, registered under GST, appointed Unix Infotech Private Limited Delhi for conducting training of its employees in the marketing department and to appraise their performance on periodic basis. Now during the month of March, here during the month of March, basically what is happening? The Unix conducted the training program at the campus of Unix New Delhi. Now here fundamentally training and performance appraisal services are supplied. Now here as per section 12(5), as per section 12.5, what is the place of supply of training and performance appraisal service? The place of services, the place of supply of services in relation to training and performance appraisal. In relation to training and performance appraisal. To a registered person, shall be the location of such person. Shall be the location of such person. So the place of supply of services in relation to training and performance appraisal to registered person, it shall be the location of such person. In this case, since services are provided to Kildo India Limited, Maharashtra. Here the place of supply is in Maharashtra. Now location of the supplier is, location of supplier that is Sunix Infotech Private Limited is in Delhi. Sunix Infotech Private Limited, it is in Delhi. And place of supply is in Maharashtra. Hence it is what? Hence it is interstate supply. It is interstate supply, and same is subject to IGST. It will be subject to IGST. Same will be subject to what? IGST. Next is Mr. Arnab, Calcutta, not registered under GST. Arnab, Calcutta, not registered under GST, booked air ticket in Jet Airways to travel to Mumbai. He embarks on the flight at the New Delhi airport. So here basically which service is covered? Passenger transportation service is covered. So here passenger transportation services are provided to whom? To unregistered person. To unregistered person. Now, in case if passenger transportation services have been provided to unregistered person, as per section 12.8, what will be the place of supply? The place of supply shall be the place of supply shall be the place, as per section 12.9, basically it is not 12.8, it's 12.9. The place of supply shall be the place where the passenger embarks on the conveyance for a continuous journey, where the passenger embarks on the conveyance for the continuous journey. So here he embarks at New Delhi airport. So place of supply is New Delhi. Location of supplier is where? Location of supplier is Calcutta. That is we are presuming that it is a registered office in Calcutta, Kolkata Jet Airways. Hence, location of supplier is in Kolkata, place of supply is in New Delhi. So it is basically interstate supply and subject to IGST. It is interstate supply and the same is subject to what? IGST. So this is one question. This was for 8 marks, 2 marks each. First of all, you have to determine the place of supply and then the nature of supply and type of tax to be levied, which we have discussed here. Now, let us discuss one more question. What would be the place of supply of service in the following independent cases? What would be the place of supply of service in the following independent cases? That is one, MN Trade Links of New Delhi. MN Trade Links of New Delhi are appointed as a commission agent. They are appointed as a commission agent by a foreign company for sale of its goods to Indian customers. Now here MN Trade Links New Delhi, they are appointed as a commission agent by a foreign company for sale of its goods to Indian customers. In lieu of their services, MN Trade Links receive a fixed percentage of commission from the concerned foreign company. Now here, this MN Trade Links, they have been appointed as what? Commission agent. They have been appointed as a commission agent, and they have been appointed as a commission agent by a foreign company. Then MN Trade Link receive fixed percentage of commission from the concerned foreign company. MN Trade Links receive a fixed percentage of commission from the concerned foreign company. And now here, what is happening is the location of supplier, that is MN Trade Links, supplier of services, MN Trade Links, location of supplier is in India, and the recipient is outside India. So fundamentally, provisions of section 13 will be applicable. Provisions of section 13 will be applicable. Provisions of section 13 will be applicable, and as the MN Trade Links is providing what? Intermediary services. Intermediary services. MN Trade Links is providing what? Intermediary services. Now here, as per section 13.8, the place of supply of intermediary service is the location of supplier of service. It is the location of supplier of service. Now here, the location of supplier of service is in New Delhi, and place of supply is also where? New Delhi. Place of supply is in New Delhi, and place of supply is in New Delhi. So here it will be regarded as an intrastate supply. It will be regarded as an intrastate supply. It is regarded as an intrastate supply, and same is subject to CGST plus SGST. The same is subject to what? CGST plus SGST. It is regarded as an intrastate supply, and it is subject to CGST and SGST. Number 2. Now here OP Fabricators of Mumbai. OP Fabricators of Mumbai has what? Temporarily imported certain goods. OP Fabricators of Mumbai has temporarily imported certain goods from his customers located in Hong Kong for repairs. From his customers located in Hong Kong for repairs. The said goods have been re-exported to Hong Kong after carrying out certain necessary repairs without the goods being put to use in Mumbai. So fundamentally here, basically supplier is in India and recipient is what? Outside India. Supplier is in India and recipient is outside India. Hence, place of supply is determined as per what? Section 13. Place of supply is determined as per Section 13. Now basically it is what? Performance based service. It is performance based service in respect of goods. In respect of goods which are made available by service recipient for supply of service. Now normally the place of supply is the place of performance here. However, it has been provided as per section 13(3). It has been stated that in case goods are temporarily imported into India, for repairs, etc., and they are what? And subsequently re-exported without being put to use, just to find out whether repairs have been properly carried out or not. For that it is used, otherwise without being, say, put to use. Here place of supply is to be determined as per section 13(2). Now here place of supply will be determined as per section 13(2), and as per section 13(2), the place of supply will be the location of recipient of service. Location of recipient of service. Place of supply will be the location of the recipient of service. Place of supply is the location of recipient of service. Hence, place of supply will be, in this case, will be what? Hong Kong. Because recipient is where? In Hong Kong. So, place of supply will be in Hong Kong. Next question is UV Airlines. UV Airlines, an airlines located in New Delhi. It is an airlines located in New Delhi, has hired aircrafts from foreign airlines for a period of say 15 days. Now here the place of supply of the hiring services of motor vehicles except vessels and aircrafts but including yacht, for a period not more than 1 month. Basically, in this case, here we have to see for a period not more than 1 month is to be determined as per section 13.8. As per what? Section 13.8. Okay. So, if here aircraft is given on hire, so place of supply of aircraft service shall be what? The shall be determined, hiring of aircraft service, basically hiring of aircraft service shall be what? Determined as per section 13.2, and as per section 13.2 the place of supply shall be the location of recipient of service. It will be the location of recipient of service in this case. So, this is one question which we have discussed. The same has been asked here, and it is foreign airlines, so it must be outside India. So, fundamentally this has been asked for 6 marks, which we have discussed here.